I'm going to be going over every best upgrade order for Deadpool for all three of his roles. Keep in mind that these upgrade orders are the most versatile in my opinion, and these upgrade orders are pretty much what I prefer to go with, so if you don't like it, then that's fine. So I'm going to be leaving up this screen for a few seconds just in case people want to pause or put it on like a different monitor or just, put it on like, I don't know, like a piece of paper. So go ahead, do whatever you need. And now we're going to be going over the explanation part. Now, the reason why you want to get 5 first is that it is overall a very versatile tool to use that just gives you just straight up stat buffs. I know a lot of players like Flats like to get Deagles first on Deadpool, but in my opinion, E is super good because it helps you in every single playstyle. And not only that, you can also use it in your ult form, which is insanely good. It's such a versatile tool. And not only that, when you upgrade this thing, allies in your circle also get your damage reduction, so it's also a team tool. And then last thing I want to add is that in the very early game, you're probably just going to pop E just to poke, get some XP and stuff. There's sometimes a chance that, I don't know, you might get a kill or you just poked well enough that you have enough XP. Once you upgrade a usable ability in Deadpool's kit, it actually gets refreshed. So for example, I pop my basic E, and then I get a kill, I take a photo, my basic E is on cooldown, I upgrade my E, and it's actually back up, so I can just use it again. So that's another reason I like to get E first, is because it has a lot of snowball potential. Now, the second ability that I'm going to get for tank pool is his 4. The reason why we are getting 4 is because we're going to get 2 charges of this really important thing. Now, let's talk about like neutral kit first. Say that you accidentally miss a dash, this means that you don't have any other dashes on to like escape or something. But if you upgrade this, you actually get 2 charges, so you have 1 extra charge to use just in case you whiff the first one. And not only that, these like little dash strikes are the main way you're going to be farming your sword ult, which is the best ult for all forms of Deadpool. If we don't upgrade this, we realistically only have 3 charges to use in the sword ult, and that means we have to double jump on enemies twice, which honestly is not a very reliable way to get points for your sword ult. But if we do upgrade the dashes, we technically get 6. That means that we can effectively just, miss 1 and still be able to upgrade it. And then the next thing I like to get is number 7. In some matches, when you get your ult in the early game, you actually might be able to time your upgrade with this ult, which is one of the many benefits of it. But getting this ult upgraded just makes you a stalling master. It puts a lot of pressure on the enemy backline, and it's just honestly really good. Now, the next upgrade I would get is any of the weapon upgrades, whether it's 1 or 2. I would personally pick up 1 if your team is personally going a lot of poke characters. My personal favorite is number 2, the swords, because I just like brawling and diving in this game like that. It increases your DPS, it's just pretty good. Swords are also a pretty decent counter to shield tanks because melees go through shields in this game. So overall, as I said, pick 1 or 2, whatever suits you more, but you pretty much have to pick up the other one right after you get the first one. And then the last 2 upgrades is your 3 and 6. Usually I would say get 3 first because honestly 6 is probably the worst upgrade. However, I would personally just pick up 6 if the enemy team has like a really annoying character that you can easily counter with your gun ult. But other than that, your sword ult is pretty much the ult that you use 90% of the time, so I rather would just pick up 3 over 6. Now we are on DPS pool, same thing in the tank section. I'm just going to leave the screen up for a few seconds so you can do whatever you want with it. And now let's get to the explanation part. Now the first thing you're going to pick up on DPS Deadpool is actually 3. I know a lot of people like to pick up 1 as their first thing on DPS Deadpool, but 3 is honestly a very good neutral tool, and it helps your ult like crazy. And the second upgrade we are going to get is actually 5. Now, I thought that 5 was honestly kind of useless because in the base form it's 20% damage reduction, but when upgraded it's 30%. Like, yeah, it is damage reduction, but I feel like it's just not justified getting it. However, after playing a bit more of DPS Deadpool, I feel like 5 is super important. You are a very swishy character, and honestly, I feel like you have one of the bigger hitboxes out of like any other DPS character. So I feel like we have to pick up 5 here. It allows us to stay in the fight longer, it allows us to, take a few more hits. It's just super important for a squishy character. And the third upgrade that we are going to get is number 7. His base sword ult is honestly just like a worse version of the tank ult, but once you finally upgrade it, that cooldown reset basically allows you to stall better than a tank Deadpool sword ult, if that makes sense. That's a lot of words, sorry. Now, the reason we are not getting 4 before 7 is because if you think about it, the base sword dashes are honestly just like the upgraded versions of both of the other rules, if that makes sense. You have 2 uses of it, and you have 3 charges each on it. You already basically technically have 6 dashes in the base sword dash thingy. And the reason why we are also not getting 4 before 7 is because, generally speaking, base dashes and an upgraded 3 will get you an upgrade on your ult no matter what. But now we are actually going to get 4. So 4 basically just makes his base kit on sword just so much more annoying and useful because you have infinite dashes now as long as you have those red arrows. Now that 4 is upgraded, we can basically use those infinite dashes to stall like crazy, especially when we're sword ulting. And then the next 2 upgrades you're going to get is 1 and 2. It's like the same thing as the tank, you know, you run the deagles if you're poking a lot more, and run the 2 if you're brawling and diving a lot more. And the last upgrade is your 6, because 6 is honestly very situational, but you know, you might as well get the last upgrade in there. Last, but certainly not least, we have heal pool. Now, the first thing you want to upgrade is your 3, because it honestly does a lot of pressure to the enemy team, and it heals your teammates a pretty good bit. And it's super important in building your ult, just super important. Next thing you want to get is your 5. You pretty much actually want to use this as kind of like a self-sustaining tool. Heal pool honestly really sucks against dive because he doesn't have CC, and not only that, his forms of self-healing are honestly kind of trash, if that makes sense. Like, his swords you can self-heal, but honestly, it's just not enough. Your 3 can technically heal you, but it barely heals you, and this means that you're using one of the best pressure abilities and just good burst heal abilities just for yourself. 4 honestly just sucks, but it's like in the same boat as 2, so we are going to be using 5 as pretty much our self-sustain tool if we're getting dived. If you're not getting dived, well, you can honestly just, you know, play really close to like your tanks and frontline DPS and just pop this for extra heals. And not only that, 5 is actually pretty good when combining it with one of your ults because it actually pretty much makes it heal as much as support ult. Speaking of ult, next thing we're going to get is 7. It's pretty much self-explanatory. The reason why your sword ult is generally better than your gun ult is because you can just extend your support ult basically if you're running sword ult. And so yeah, just get 7. It's just better heals, there's a chance you extend it, pretty good. Now these last 4 upgrades are honestly very situational based because honestly they're all kind of the same. You want to pick up 1 if you just want better overall consistent healing. 2 and 4 are honestly kind of bad when you pick them up early, but they're honestly pretty nice when you pick them up near the end. I personally only really use swords and like the dashes if I'm getting dived myself, but it's actually a pretty good playstyle to, you know, use your swords to dive in along with your team so they get heals and you're also applying a lot of pressure. But generally speaking, if I just want to apply heals while applying pressure, just shoot them and throw your right click. It just does a lot more healing. But yeah, just pick up 2 and 4 together if you're getting dived like crazy, because it is way easier to land your hits with a melee than a gun, and maybe the healing from your dashes and just general sword attacks might be able to save your team and yourself. And then you want to pick up 6, and then generally speaking you want to pick up 6 last, but I can see a universe of you picking up 6 before any of your weapon abilities if they have someone that can get easily countered by this ult.